Wassup YouTube, PokePrimer here, ready to deliver you our very first weekly recap for the NPBF. I started to share my videos that I was doing for the league in the chat and whatnot, and one of the commissioners of the league asked me if I'd be willing to do something like this. So I said, screw it, why not? Let's do it. So we are going to be recapping all of the games that happen each week, all 12 games. Just gonna kind of let the replays play and kind of commentate a little bit over each one. I'm not gonna go too much into detail because again I don't know a lot of their sets, but I will do my best to show off each match to its greatest potential. So this is gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm really looking forward to doing this. So without further ado, let us get into this week. To start things off, however, I do want to put a little bit of a disclaimer on this. Two of the matches this week are not able to be shown. The first of those matches is between the, let me get the names right, the Peoria Phantoms and the Cleveland Typhlosions. Now, we do have a consensus as to who won the match. The Typhlosions won in a 3-0 fashion over the Phantoms, with Lycanroc Dusk picking up 3 kills, as well as Halucha picking up another 3 kills. So the two Mons putting in a lot of work, really well played in that matchup, I'm sure. But the replay, they didn't save the replay properly, and it just didn't go well for them. It's unfortunate, but we do have an overall consensus, and we all agreed to follow through on that. The other of those games that did not end up actually getting played at all was between the Birmingham Entei's and the Kisaki City Glaceons. The Entei's had something come up, the scheduling issues, and they were scheduled to battle on the Sunday, which is like pretty much almost the last day we have until, I believe, 10 a.m. PST on Mondays to get our battles done. 10:30 a.m. or something along those lines. They were set to battle on Sunday, and the Glaceons just were not available. So the Glaceons did decide to take the forfeit loss for Week 1, which is unfortunate. It sucks to take a forfeit loss so early in the season, but it happens sometimes. Scheduling just doesn't work out, and IRL things happen. So with that being the last of those issues, hopefully from here on out we'll be able to go over all 12 games in the future. But for now, we are just going to stick with what we have, and we're going to go into the first of our games now. Alrighty guys, we are going to start things off with the first game of this week, pitting Chris and the Kalamazoo Kingdras against Corey and the Driftvale Drillburs. The Drillburs, you see here, bringing the Simisage, the Kartana, the Mega Ampharos, Reuniclus, Ribombee, and the Rotom Heat to counter Chris's Mono Water team. His channel, Igloo Boy, which will be linked in the description below. His channel is based around a lot of monotype content, so for his subscribers and whatnot, he decided to draft a Mono Water team. So very cool here. So we got his Azumarill, Gastrodon, Toxapex, Huntail, the Omastar, and the Basculin. So without further ado, let us get into this. So he's going to lead his Omastar against the Ribombee, who's just going to go straight for an Energy Ball and knock it down to its Sash. This appears to be a suicide lead, as it's here to just get up its Stealth Rock, which is a very good play on his part to chip at his opponent's team. Now, another good play on Chris's part to get the Whirlpool on the Ribombee. Very solid play. I'm assuming it's more than likely a Sap Super set. This is a way of keeping this thing out of the game, and a way to whittle down such what can be a very potent offensive threat to some members of his team, and a very fast one at that. So he's going to get that Whirlpool up on him, take a Moonblast to the face pretty solidly. He's a very tanky build. He's going to get off a Toxic, which is huge, because with the Whirlpool and Toxic damage, it's going to really whittle down this Ribombee. Now, it gets off one Protect, dodges a Psychic, which is huge, but now, watch this, he's going to get a second Protect, the double Protect to dodge a Moonblast from this Ribombee, and between the Whirlpool and the Toxic damage, it is going to take it out. Now, in comes the Rotom Heat. Obviously, the Azumarill is going to be forced out,
into the Gastrodon as the Rotom goes for a smart defog, getting rid of those rocks and preserving the potential chip on his team. Very, very good switch here as he brings in the Reuniclus on the Toxapex, which is a very, very, very solid move on his part, as the Reuniclus is going to be able to get up a Calm Mind here. Now, the Azumarill is going to fire off a Whirlpool as the Reuniclus shall get up a second Calm Mind. Azumarill fires off a Perish Song, basically setting this Reuniclus up to die as it gets hit by a massive Psychic. This Protect here is going to dodge the next Psychic and put him in a very, very good position, leaving only 2 turns remaining for this Reuniclus in its existence. However, it does not get the double Protect this time, was not fortunate enough, and the Reuniclus is in fact going to have to perish that turn. So he goes into his Huntail, and this is a very smart play on Chris's part. At that point, he was either forced to stay in, attack the Huntail, and try to take it out, which I'm assuming, you'll see in a minute, I believe that this Huntail was sashed, more than likely. So, very, very good prep on his part. But, he's either forced to sack his Reuniclus to try to hit this Huntail as hard as he possibly can before going down to the Parasong, or he's going to have to switch out and give this Huntail a free Shell Smash. So it's going to get the Shell Smash up here, very, very nice, and then just wipe out this Rotom with a Scald. Now in comes the Ampharos. Is going to Mega Evolve into Mega Ampharos, gain that Dragon typing, and drop to an Ice Beam. Huntail is on fire. So Scald is going to come out here against the Reuniclus and pop his Ipapa Berry, which is huge to keep their Reuniclus alive, and you do see it is in fact Focus Sashed after that Energy Ball. A second Scald is going to pick up a burn on Reuniclus as the Huntail does drop, and the Reuniclus's HP is going to go down. Now this play right here, you see that switch there from Gastrodon and Toxapex. This is a very, very smart play. You're going to see why in a second. So he goes out to Gastrodon, he baits this Energy Ball as he goes into Toxapex, whom he knows can take it very, very easily, and then lets Reuniclus drop to the burn. That's a very, very smart play on Chris's part, as it allows him to pretty much safely get Pex in, which I don't think he normally could have against, I don't think he normally could have if Reuniclus was alive. So, really, really good play on his part to get Toxapex into the matchup, as well as continuing to whittle down the Drillbirds team. Now, the Kartana goes for a Z Tailwind here, which would have been a really cool tech. Gets a lot of really high crit moves, and would have been a very, very good thing in this matchup if it wasn't for that burn off of the Scald. So at this point, it's pretty much Toxapex's game to just sit here, as you're going to see a crit. He's going to go for the Baneful Bunker here, dodge the first Psycho Cut, and you're going to see right here, this crit Psycho Cut is only going to do 27%. That is just depressing. If he was not burned, I do believe that would have been doing a very significant amount of damage, and potentially could have been able to break through this Toxapex. It's very, very unfortunate that he did get that burn, so now it's just going to whittle down the Kartana to the point where a Scald will in fact take it out. Now, all the Drillbirds have left is their Simisage to try and bring this back, and he's going to fire off a Seed Bomb as the Toxapex is going to Toxic the Monkey. And at this point, it's just a matter of time. He goes for a Seed Bomb on that Monkey, or on that Toxapex, getting a decent amount of damage off, but after this Baneful Bunker, you'll see the HP gain back from the Black Sludge on the Toxapex will be more than enough to live a Seed Bomb, allowing it to just recover off all form of damage and just watch as the Simisage is slowly Toxic Stalled down to nothing. He ends up in Overgrow range, which is really, really cool. You get to see that pop, and he gets to do a significantly larger amount of damage, but it is essentially useless as the Kingdra are going to pick up a 3-0 victory here in Week 1 over the Drillbirds. On to our next match. We have the Orlando Magikarp bringing the level 10 Pikachu, Toxicroak, Mega Medicham, Magearna, Porygon 2, and Rhyperior against, they are coached by Jay, by the way, against the Meowston Rockets, coached by Heliodoro, I will refer to him as Helio for short, with the Incineroar, Mega Aggron, Quagsire, Jellicent, Togekiss, and Jirachi. So let's hop into this. We're going to see the Rhyperior lead against the Aggron. The Aggron is going to go straight for its Mega, get up its Stealth Rocks, and take a huge crit Earthquake to the face. Big damage right off the bat that you don't want to be taking. Quagsire will now come in and show that Earthquake means nothing to it, as it's going to just take absolutely nothing. But then get Dragon-tailed out after Toxicking the Rhyperior. Very good play to whittle that thing down. Quagsire is going to keep coming in here, however, on these Earthquakes and just not caring at all. It's going to easily recover off all of that damage and then take a Dragon Tail to the face. I believe that to be a bit of a misplay, based upon where he was at. If we take a look at it, so it might not, it more than likely would not have killed, but I do believe an Earthquake was a better play there to keep the Quagsire at a manageable amount of HP without letting it just get a free recover like that. So now, baiting the Iron Head with the Togekiss, Quagsire ends up back at full health and just takes an Ice Punch like it's nothing. This Rhyperior is about to be taken out. Quagsire does drop it with an Earthquake of its own, proving to be the superior Earthquaker. Now, Magearna comes in and quickly dispatches of this massive threat with a disgusting Twinkle Tackle from out of nowhere, takes it out, and then lives on 2% from this Flare Blitz from Incineroar and drops it with a Dazzling Gleam. Magearna showing why it's such an offensive and defensive threat at the same time. Rachi's going to come in and take out the Magearna, but putting the momentum back in Jay's corner, and immediately it is gone. As I'm really having trouble figuring out this play. I understand the Pikachu was useless, but it could have been used as death fodder later to get a clean switch into something. Coming in, letting the potential of what I would believe to be a Focus Sash pop, and then just letting it sack to the Aggron just kind of seemed pointless at that point, especially if it was potentially static. You could have even saved that for the Jirachi to maybe come in and potentially get a static paralysis on that. Could have been a good play on his part, but he did not go for that, and he just decides to sack it here, allowing the Medicham to now come in for free. He's going to go into Jellicent, as the Medicham is just going to go for a Fake Out, which it is immune to. And now you can see this play just works out horribly for Jay, as not only does his Zen Headbutt, which is his only form of move to damage this Jellicent in any way, gets basically removed from its move pool due to the Cursed Body popping in that exact instant. He gets burned by the Jellicent, which basically neuters this Medicham entirely. Now, even burned, a Zen Headbutt would have killed from that range, but because of the Cursed Body, he had to go for a Bullet Punch there, and allowed the Jellicent to get up a decent amount of HP. And now, after a second Bullet Punch, a Crit Hex is going to wipe out the Medicham. So into the P2 we go as we fire off a Thunderbolt into the Aggron. And now P2 essentially has to go for hacks and then freezes the Aggron. Very ironic to get some hacks against the team that gets all the hacks with Jirachis and Togekiss. Very, very interesting on that point. But he's just going to be able to go for another Thunderbolt and take out the Aggron. So now it's P2 and Toxicroak versus the world. And these next upcoming turns are why I don't like Jirachi. Iron Head number 1, Flinch number 1. Iron Head number 2, Flinch number 2. Iron Head number 3, and Flinch number 3. And then a final Iron Head to seal the coffin. Now Toxicroak comes in, it knows it can take some Iron Heads. I don't know why he went for Fake Out, very, very strange maneuver there. But he's going to go for a Sucker Punch, he's just going to get burned by the Jellicent. The Jellicent really had no reason to go for an attack there, in my opinion. So it was basically a free Willow for Jellicent. Now going for another Sucker Punch and getting played out of it. A Scarf Jirachi just going to go for Heart Stamp and KO the Toxicroak. So GG to the Meowston Rockets, picking up a 3-0 win on the back of Jirachi this week. Very, very solid play indeed. The next game we're going to go over is between the Maine Black Bearticks, coached by Chad. Right? Your name is Chad? Chad? My boy Chad? Chad. We got Chad coaching the main black Beartics, and we have the one, the only, James, the head commissioner, Mr. Bird Gang, coaching the Memphis Redbirds. The Memphis Redbirds are bringing the Jolteon, the Tornadus Therian, the Pelipper, the Drampa, the Escavalier, and the Mega Sharpedo against the Beartics, Suicune, regular Scizor, Granbull, Kyurem, Magneton, and Mega Venusaur. So let's get into this. So we have Magneton leading against the Jolteon, as Jolteon's just going to Volt Switch right out, doing some big damage to that Magneton, and allowing the Drampa to take a Flash Cannon and then a Volt Switch to the face, getting that special attack boost from the Berserk and allowing itself to roost up. Now, I'm not 100% sure what his plan was. I don't know why he switched there. He probably could have taken out the Scizor if he had the proper coverage, but we reveal the Life Orb on the Scizor as it knocks off the AV on the Escavalier, which is going to probably come into play later in the match. Very, very huge that AV is big on Escavalier. Knockoff here is going to get rid of the incoming Suicune's leftovers, but it counters that by having Aqua Ring as it sets it up here in the rain against the Pelipper. Very, very huge play. Now it's just going to go for an Ice Beam here to whittle down the Pelipper as it goes for a U-turn into the Jolteon. Very, very good play here, allowing him to basically fire off perfectly accurate Thunders on this Suicune. Now into the Magneton he goes, and this damage shows that this Jolteon may or may not be Specs. We're not totally sure. It's taking no damage from Life Orb, so I'm assuming Specs, but we are not 100% sure. But big damage taking out that Magneton. Now, the Granbull goes for a Protect as the Escavalier comes in and reveals a very interesting tech. Now, first off, we note that the Granbull is in fact a Quick Feet build, as it pops its Toxic Orb and does not show Intimidate, which is a very, very interesting bring on his part. Now we see the Granbull switch out as the Escavalier goes for Counter. Very, very interesting to have the Counter to try and get some damage off on the Granbull. Knockoff comes out again as the Scald comes out onto the Escavalier, and the Knockoff does nothing to the Coon. Scald picks up a burn here on the Pelipper as it's just going to be able to eventually roost off all forms of damage. And now into the Kyurem he goes, as the Pelipper does in fact U-turn on this turn into the Escavalier. Escavalier is now going to go for a knockoff, get a little bit more chip damage on this Suicune. And Ice Beam comes out as a Mega Horn chunks that Suicune, puts it down in a very bad range with no way of getting HP up. Scald is going to take out the Escavalier, but there's just not much it can do here. Pelipper's going to eat a Scald and then just U-turn itself out into the Jolteon, who is able to pick up a free kill with the Thunder. Very, very awesome here to see that. In comes the Granbull, and turns out Quick Feet Granbull is not faster than a Jolteon, and the Thunder just wipes it out. Now into the Drampa on this Sludge Bomb from Mega Venusaur. Drampa gets poisoned and takes a huge chunk of damage. There's no chance of it taking another hit, so it's just going to get sacked here. Very, very interesting there to see Drampa do nothing. It's very upsetting. Into the Mega Sharpedo we go as it goes for a Protect to kind of get its Mega up. But it's going to go for a Destiny Bond here against the Scizor, showing that awesome tech and picking up the kill on the Scizor, immediately getting rid of that threat. The Pelipper now comes in as the Kyurem is going to roost without taking any damage, which is a very interesting play on their part, and get hit with a Hurricane. The Pelipper is now going to try and U-turn itself out. So on this turn, both players are going to roost up and gain back their HP. Kyurem's going to come out with a crit Draco Meteor to take out the Pelipper. Not totally sure what the spreads are. May have mattered, may not have mattered, but really, really good play on their part. Now, first Thunder comes off and hits that Venusaur, and the rain stopping is very, very important, because you're going to see it misses a Thunder, and that could have been potentially huge for this game. Now, based upon the prior damage, we could determine that it was maybe have been rolls to potentially beat this Venusaur. If he had hit that second Thunder, would have potentially done maybe another 33%, left him at about 34. You see, that roll did another 33%, right? Potentially with rolls, as we see here, it does do 36% on this turn. Potentially with rolls, it could have KO'd the Venusaur from that range, so that miss was huge. So now the Tornadus is coming in. I'm going to hit a Hurricane on the Venusaur. Miss one on the Kyurem, unfortunately. I don't believe that entirely mattered at that point, unless he got a confusion and the Kyurem hit itself. The Kyurem is just going to take out the Tornadus with a Hurricane. So GG to the main Black Beartics, picking up a big 1-0 victory in Week 1. The next game we will be covering is my game, the Paniolo Primarinas taking on the Parma Poipoles. The Primarinas here are going to be bringing the Weavile, the Mega Charizard X, the Rotom Wash, Licky, Florges, and the Dusk Noir, while the Poipoles are going to bring Mega Gallade, Lycanroc Midnight, Tentacruel, Silvally of some typing, which will be revealed later in the match, Kommo-o, and the Necrozma. So let us get into this one. This match is going to start off with the Tentacruel leading against the Weavile, who just goes straight for a knockoff, getting rid of its Black Sludge and revealing that one more knockoff will take it out as Toxic Spikes are set on the field. To scout out the potential damage this Gallade can do, and since it's out of range of a knockoff kill, we go into our Florges and then take a Poison Jab with our Kebia Berry tech on there, fire off a Moonblast and do some serious damage to this Mega Gallade. We then sack off our Florges, allowing the Weavile to come back in and pick up another KO with a knockoff. Very, very big couple turns there. Another case of scouting. We scout this Lycanroc set with our Rotom, trying to see what kind of item it is. It shows that it is in fact a Life Orb, so it is not a Scarf set like predicted. So back out into Weavile, and we reveal our tech of Z Iron Tail, Corkscrew Crash to take out either the Lycanroc or the Carbink that he also had on his roster. So it was a potential option there. Without being able to kill this Kommo-o, we do switch out. We see it is in fact a Steelium Z variant. We eat a Flamethrower and a Clanging Scales from this thing and hit it with a Shadow Punch really hard to the face. It's Adamant Dust Noir, doing some big damage. Following up with a Shadow Sneak to put this thing down in range of an Ice Shard, which is very, very important. We are going to go for that Ice Shard here, just to make sure, and we are going to hit the incoming Silvally ground, which we then pick off with an Icicle Crash. So, another kill for the Weavile. We are now going to go for a knockoff onto the Necrozma, who's going to pick off the Weavile with a Flash Cannon, but still big damage on the Necrozma and putting it in range so that Mega Charizard X can come in, click Dragon Claw once, and click that Tough Claws Dragon Claw a second time, and take out the Kommo-o, picking up a 2-0 victory for the Paniolo Primarinas in Week 1 over the Parma Poipoles. Another solid game to watch here. Another great example of NPBF action. The next game we have is going to be the Minnesota Grambles taking on the Baltimore Predacons. The Baltimore Predacons are coached by one of the commissioners, Nathaniel, aka Nathan. I will refer to him as Nathan. And the Minnesota Grambles are coached by Sadie. So the Grambles bring the Clefable, the Bisharp, the Mega Sableye, Snorlax, Frostlass, and the regular Sharpedo, while the Predacons bring Xurkitree, and that's pretty much about it. And you will see why in a minute. Also having the Zydog, Slowking, Tapu Bulu, Latias, and the Registeel. So let's get into this. We see Registeel lead off against the Frostlass, as the Frostlass goes for a taunt and the Registeel goes for an Earthquake to potentially break a Sash. Frostlass is going to set up some spikes here as an Iron Head comes out to put it down into range of death. Now potentially predicting maybe a Destiny Bond or something else, we go out into Xurkitree and pick up the first kill of a Thunderbolt as another layer of spikes goes up. Now, the sweep is in. Doesn't matter unless it was bulky Assault Vest Bisharp, but that is now +2. Does not matter, and don't even care about the bulk investment. I don't think it matters. Snorlax is going to come out and actually eat this up. If Snorlax had come out sooner, if Calx maybe had been run, it could have potentially saved the matchup. But too little, too late, and the Snorlax is going to go down to 2 Thunderbolts. The Sharpedo is going to pick up a speed boost, but does not matter. If it had been a Jolly Sharpedo, this would have potentially saved part of the game. We saved some differential, but it just was not. It must have been an Adamant Sharpedo, but that thing drops, and then one more Thunderbolt for the Clayable, and Xerkich picking up a 6-0 sweep. So, very, very well played with the Xerkitry getting it in on that Frostlass and cleaning up the game. Very, very, very huge win for the Predacons in Week 1. And hopefully the Grambles will be able to bounce back from this loss, as they apparently have not really played too much against the Ultra Beasts. They're just coming back into it now. So, hopefully they've learned from this experience and they'll be able to bounce back in the coming weeks. The next game we are going to cover is my pick for game of the week between the Battle of the Davids. The Wellington Whirlwinds are defending champions for the season against the Atlanta Dragonites. We have the Whirlwinds bringing Mega Altaria, Golurk, Fortress, Sceptile, Vaporeon, and Hoopa Unbound, while we have the Seismitoad, Haxorus, Crobat, Tapu Koko, Meloetta, and the Mega Latios from the Dragonites. So let's get on into this one. Seismitoad's going to lead here against the Fortress, as they are just going to trade rocks. Fortress now gets decimated by an HP Fire from the Seismitoad, forcing it to switch out into the Vaporeon. Now, the Vaporeon is going to take that like it's nothing. And now we're going to have a bit of an exchange of moves here to try and get a little bit of a rhythm going on. You're going to see this is very, very well played on the Whirlwind's part. They're just going to spam Ice Beam a bit, kind of get the Seismitoad into some form of rhythm. Seismitoad goes for a Toxic here to whittle down this Vaporeon as it goes for another Ice Beam, and a Sludge Wave comes out. The Vaporeon is going to now go for a Wish here as another Sludge Wave hits it, and it seems like there's a rhythm going on here. So now the Vaporeon is in fact going to switch out into the Fortress. With this rhythm they've gotten him into, the Sludge Wave will be unable to touch the Fortress, as it is able to get a massive amount of HP back from the Wish. And now, baiting the HP Fire, gets a free switch into Hoopa Unbound. Hoopa's not going to be able to go for an Energy Ball and decimate the Seismitoad immediately, making it a 6-5 matchup. Coco's going to come in here and obviously go for that 4 times effective U-turn, which allows the Golurk to come in basically for free. Crobat comes out and is going to go for a Defog here, as taking advantage of this play, Golurk gets up a Rock Polish, which is huge, as a Stone Edge, Life Orb Stone Edge from the Golurk is actually going to be able to take out the Crobat. A little bit of misplaying here on both coaches' part. They both going for immune moves on the opponent. And for some reason, another Hyper Voice comes out as the Earthquake chips the hell out of that Meloetta. Haxorus is going to come in here and take a massive Earthquake to the face, essentially having to be sacked in order to get a better matchup. Earthquake is going to be able to take out Haxorus, though. Now into Tapu Koko, and the clearly Scarf Koko at this point goes for the U-turn to get a little bit more chip, bait an Earthquake, and get a free switch into Latios. Latios is going to Mega Evolve here and take a Shadow Punch to the face, and for some reason goes for what seems to be a resisted Hidden Power. I don't know if that was maybe a mistype in their part or whatever, but a Dragon Pulse or something would have been a much better play there. Koko is able to pick up a U-turn kill on the Golurk here, but that does not matter, as the unburdened, boosted now Sceptile with an Electric Seed comes in, pops its seed, gets the +1 defense, and is able to just clean up. Take this crunch on the Meloetta and wipe out the Tapu Koko with a crit Leaf Blade. Do I believe the crit mattered? Maybe it mattered to kill, but in the long run of the matchup, I think the match was won, especially as soon as the Electric Seed popped. The Whirlwinds just tore through at that point. It was a very, very well played match on the Whirlwind side there. Just the prep was insane. Prep was really, really well done and really well played. with Vaporeon as well as the Sceptile. So, GG to both of them. Whirlwinds starting off strong with a 5-0 victory. The next game we are going to discuss is the Flashing Blade Pichus, coached by, let me find their name here, Michael, against the Tide Galicipods, coached by Alex. Alex decided to bring the Mega Scizor, the Regirock, Shaman, Galicipod, the Empoleon, and the Kyurem Black against Michael's Feraligatr, Klinklang, Comfey, Doublade, Latios, and Mega Charizard Y. So without further ado, let us get into this game. Regirock is going to lead out here against this Doublade and must switch out immediately, knows that potential Iron Head's coming. And into the Mega Scizor we go. Now, predicting the swap, he goes immediately for a Pursuit with the Mega Scizor, which is a very good play on their part. Did some massive damage to that Doublade. Now out into the Empoleon, as for some reason the Charizard went for an Air Slash. I don't know what he might have been predicting there. I think he just felt like it was an overall good neutral play to go for. But it does very little damage to the Empoleon, and for some reason he goes for a second one here, I don't know. Taking some unnecessary damage from the Scald, as the Charizard now goes for a Flamethrower and sees that is in fact a 2-hit KO on the Empoleon, as another Scald, Torrent boosted, comes out and does some insane damage to the Zard. If he had just gone for a Flamethrower in the first place, it would not have put him entirely into Torrent range, so he would have been able to 2-hit KO him without actually taking that much damage. So, kind of a misplay on the Pichu's part, but overall I think just it worked out well for them. The Gallicipod is going to go for an Aqua Jet here and chip away at the Klinklang, which comes in to save the Zard. Shaman is going to switch in here as the Klinklang goes for a Shift Gear, and this Gear Grind takes so much damage as the Shukaberry pops on this Klinklang from the Earth Power on Shaman, leaving it at a very decently low amount of HP. Now, the Scizor is going to come in here as that Gear Grind miss is kind of big in the long run, as it could have potentially chipped down the Scizor into range for other things to pick it off. But one Bullet Punch here after this Wild Charge, which does very little damage. Klinklang just does not do enough. 2 Bullet Punches, you're going to take this thing out. Now, Scizor is just going to spam itself some Pursuits here. The Doublade is going to set itself up a Swords Dance. Another Pursuit here to weaken him down. A Sacred Sword is going to do a solid 40%. Shadow Sneak is going to knock him down a bit, but he's going to go for the Roost. And now, needing to go for a Sacred Sword to get the damage off, he's able to get off another Pursuit and kill. Scizor is now able to go for a Bullet Punch on this Charizard, which unnecessarily was sacked, but this is just setting up for other things. Now, this play is huge. That crit, if timid, could have mattered a lot. It's definitely a massive, massive roll. I think it took one of the 4 highest rolls to kill without the crit. So definitely big in their... it was definitely big in Alex's favor to stay in there, potentially get a U-turn off or a Roost. Maybe waste the Z move. Would have been a really, really good turn if it did not crit. The Scizor being there was huge, and that's going to come into play very, very soon. Scizor dropping there sucks. Kyurem Black's able to come in here, go for a Choice Scarf Dragon Claw, and take out the Latios. But that sets up for this. Comfey is able to come in here, obviously forcing a switch, and getting up a Calm Mind. Seed Flare is going to miss here, which is very unfortunate, but Comfey is now going to get up another Calm Mind, and then get off a Draining Kiss. Priority Draining Kiss to pick off the Shaman, and due to its Triage ability, it has priority and takes out the Kyurem as well with another one. So huge damage coming off these Draining Kisses. Another one is going to Emergency Exit, pop the Gallicipod out of the match. Now, a priority Giga Drain is going to do massive damage to that Regirock, as it's going to be able to get a crit Rock Slide and bring down the Comfey a decent amount, synthesizing off that damage to prevent any further crits, and another Giga Drain is going to put him basically back on full. And at this point, it's just GG. Giga Drain is going to come out here, out-prioritizes the Sucker Punch. It actually goes to +3 priority instead of the, I believe, +1 that Sucker Punch does indeed have. So it is going to be able to out-prioritize and kill off the Gallicipod here without being able to take any damage whatsoever. Comfey, proving why it is a mon not to sleep on. Very, very well played matchup on both sides. That unfortunate crit on the Scizor made it so that this Comfey was able to set up and sweep. But, we'll never be able to know what would have happened if that didn't take place. So, GG to the Flash and Blade Pichus as they are able to pick up a 2-0 victory here in Week 1. The next match we're going to be covering is the, I believe this is the Washington Weavers, coached by Rich, taking on the Jerusalem Jirachis, coached by Gavino. The Jirachis bring the Chansey, the Typhlosion, the Landorus Therian, the Mega Gyarados, Galvantula, and Dusclops against the opposing team of Protean Greninja, Celebi, can't remember the Palisand, Sawk, regular Altaria, and Arcanine. So we are actually going to mute ourselves because for some reason it's not giving me a play with no music button, which is very annoying. So we're just going to hit play here and let things go. We see the Landorus lead against the Sawk, as the Sawk is going to go for an Ice Punch and do a massive chunk of damage, but get knocked off, losing its Choice Scarf. Seeing that it potentially needed to switch here, it's going to go out into the Altaria as the Lando also switches into the Dusclops. Dusclops burns the Altaria as it goes for a Cotton Guard, forcing it to switch out and get its natural cure. Nightshade comes out and does 34% to this Sawk, as an Intimidate will now weaken it to the point of not being able to kill the Lando with the knockoff as it loses its leftovers. However, we see the Sawk is indeed faster than the Lando and picks it off with the Ice Punch. Volt Switch comes out from the Galvantula, allowing the Sawk to drop and bringing back the Dusclops once again. Into Greninja we go, as now it's time to bring in Chansey, but oh, look, it is a physical Greninja. Try and take advantage of that Chansey, which does negligible damage with the Night Slash and negligible damage with that Z move, also allowing the Chansey to get a paralysis on it. A Power-Up Punch comes out, now trying to pick off the Chansey, but it just does not work, as the Gyarados is able to easily come in, intimidate the Greninja, and force it out. This allows the Gyarados to go for a Dragon Dance on the incoming Palisand, who eats that Ice Fang up. I'm kind of surprised that he didn't go for a Waterfall or a Crunch there. I believe that probably would have been a slightly better play to do as much damage as possible to the Palisand. If it was maybe a Stab Waterfall or a Stab Crunch, it might have done a much larger amount of damage, but I digress. He goes for the Ice Fang there, allowing the Castle to get off a Toxic. Another Ice Fang will in fact take it out, but now the Gyarados is on a timer. Out into the Celebi we go, as an Ice Fang is going to once again come out, but the Celebi is going to use this turn to Heal Bell and take the paralysis off of Greninja. Taking advantage of him basically just locking himself into Ice Fang now regularly, the Weavers are going to bring in their Intimidate Arcanine to weaken that down. Very, very good play on their part, because now the Gyarados is either forced to stay in and get beat or switch out. Extreme Speed goes into the Dusclops and does nothing, and then a Flare Blitz does even less than nothing, I swear. Very unfortunate. So, Toxic lands on the Arcanine, and now Nightshade hits the incoming Greninja, who does negligible damage with the Night Slash, and Dusclops is just able to Will-O-Wisp now and burn it. This is just a mess. This Greninja can't do any damage to it. A Pain Split is going to put him into a much better position, and then now, for some reason, saving that really weakened burned Greninja, he's going to go into his Altaria, which both sides get up a Dragon Dance, but Gyarados is obviously going to be faster due to it being a base speed point faster overall. So Ice Fang is going to take out the Altaria. Maybe a Cotton Guard would have been a better play on that point there, but that thing's going to drop immediately. Thankfully, though, the Gyarados drops as well, so that is a useful thing there. So Galvantula comes out against the Celebi, and that's just a bad situation for Rich, as now a late-game Sticky Webs is going to go up, which is very, very huge. A Volt Switch is going to come out from the Galvantula and hit the Arcanine super hard with a crit. And now the Arcanine is going to drop, or the Arcanine is going to get weakened by its Toxic and drop the incoming Dusclops, who, frankly, was the MVP of this match, spreading out those Toxics and doing so much damage with that Nightshade to pretty much anything that switched in. It was very, very well played. Dusclops, very well played on the Jirachi's part for sure. Now, an Extreme Speed is going to come out from the Arcanine, as it's going to be taken out by a Volt Switch from Galvantula there, bringing in the Typhlosion. At this point, with the webs up, Typhlosion, no matter what set it was, is able to just click Eruption once and Eruption twice to clean up this game and wipe out the rest of the Weavers, picking up a 3-0 win for the Jirachis in this game. The next match to take place this week was the Commissioner Chris and his Phoenix Inferno taking on Rennie and the New York Dialgas. The Dialgas are bringing the Mega Manectric, Heatran, Mamoswine, Espeon, Metagross, and Talonflame, while Chris and the Inferno are bringing the Salamence, Cobalion, Alolan Ninetales, Mega Aerodactyl, if I remember correctly, the Rotom-Mow, and the Turtonator. So let us jump into this game. We see the Aerodactyl lead against the Mamoswine, Mega Evolve immediately and set up its Stealth Rocks, dropping immediately to an Icicle Crash. I don't know why you would waste the Mega Arrow that early with the ability to outspeed everything on the team and hit Earthquakes on Manectric, Heatran, be a good wall against the Talonflame, Earthquakes on the Metagross, and just being an overall general threat. But he sacks at turn 1, which does not make sense to me. He's now going to go out into his Alolan Ninetales and set up his Aurora Veil as the Talonflame comes out. He's now going to switch out into his Turtonator on this now SD'd up Talonflame, who's going to go for a Roost as the Turtle Shell smashes. Now, for anyone who knows, Turtonator is very fucking slow, so even with a Shell Smash up, it's going to be outsped by this Talonflame, but it's going to be able to take it out with a Dragon Pulse when the Acrobatics is not able to kill through the Aurora Veil. A Dragon Pulse comes out here on the Heatran, does minimal damage, but he's just going to stay in and keep at it. He's going to Flash Cannon and get a crit, and then he's going to take a Lava Plume, and this is a very cringy set of turns here. The Turtonator can't really do anything to the Heatran, but for some reason he's allowing it to get whittled down like this. I don't know why. I don't know why at all. He says it was a misclick to go for the Stealth Rocks before on the second time as well. So a Dragon Pulse comes out and is able to hit this Metagross, but a Bullet Punch on the following turn is going to take out the Turtle finally. Cobalion comes out here against the Metagross and is just going to go for Z to the sack of the Heatran, so wasting the Z move there on that turn. Very, very good play. As in comes the Manectric, who's going to Mega Evolve and get the Intimidate off on the Cobalion with a big Flamethrower. As for some reason, he goes for a Swords Dance and then gets KO'd by the following one. I'm not really sure what that play was meant to do. He'll have to explain it, or he'll maybe have to comment on this and explain it afterwards. But he went for the Swords Dance there. I mean, obviously to get back his attack stat, but obviously Manectric's more than likely carrying a Fire move. Most Mega Manectric sets are usually carrying Volt Switch, Thunderbolt, some type of Fire move, and some type of hidden power to cover for certain scenarios. That's usually the basic, most standard set that I can think of off the top of my head. So I'm not totally sure what he was going for there, but neither here nor there. The Flamethrower, maybe he was just sacking at that point too, hoping that it was Overheat, perhaps. Maybe he was hoping that it was an Overheat set. I don't know. But he goes out into the Salamence, and that just baits out the HP Ice from the Mega Manectric, and that is just a huge play there, because now a Flamethrower is going to barely miss out on the KO on this Alolan Ninetales, as the Hail and the Aurora Veil are both up now. The Alola Tails is going to drop here, but out comes the Rotom, who is going to be able to survive this Flamethrower handily and pick up a KO with that Leaf Storm on the Manectric. But at this point, it's way too far gone. Mamoswine is going to be able to come back out here, and even through the Aurora Veil, this Mamoswine is able to pick up the KO on that Rotom and pick up the 3-0 victory for the New York Dialgas. Very, very strong showing by Rennie in the opening week of this season. Hopefully he can keep that momentum rolling. The last game this week is going to feature the London Ludicolos, coached by Kieran, taking on the Port Elizabeth Politoads, coached by John. It is John. Yes. The Ludicolos bring the Mimikyu, the Gyarados, the Mega Garchomp, if I remember correctly. I do believe he has Mega Chomp. The Amoonguss, the Swellow, and the Kricketune, while the Politoads bring the Mega Beedrill, the Donphan Ninjask, Meganium, the Electros, and the Kecleon. So we're going to hop right into this one. The Kricketune is going to lead against the Donphan as it sets up its sticky webs immediately against the Donphan's rocks. Donphan's going to go for a rapid spin as the taunt comes out from the Kricketune, who then proceeds to knock it off as it eats an Ice Shard to the face. So no more Aguava Berry for that Donphan. Earthquake comes out and does huge damage to that Amoonguss, basically putting it in range of another one, and it's going to drop to an Earthquake. So Amoonguss, a huge defensive threat, gone that early in the match. Swallow is going to come out and take an Ice Shard straight to the face as it hits the Donphan with a big Air Slash, doing a huge amount of damage. Now, switching around his team, eating up these hits, the Gyarados comes out, shows that it is a Moxie set, and it goes for the bounce on the switch into the Meganium. Electros is going to come in and eat that bounce like it's nothing, and in comes the Mega Garchomp, taking that knockoff and getting some rough skin damage at the same time. Goes for an Earthquake for some reason, as the Electros is in fact immune to that, and the Electros takes no damage. A Dragon Claw is going to come out, do massive damage, but not be enough to avoid the KO from the Electros. Mimikyu is going to come out and go for a Shadow Sneak, taking a little bit of Life Orb hit there, but knocking out the Electros. Beedrill now comes out and pops the Disguise with its U-turn. Very, very smart play to get in a free Donphan on this Swords Dance. A Shadow Sneak is going to come out and take out the Donphan, putting him in a very, very good position in this game. Shadow Sneak comes out from Kecleon and does a massive amount of damage, but a Play Rough here, very, very well played Play Rough, hitting that Kecleon and taking it out. A Shadow Sneak here as well, sacking off the Mimikyu to his Life Orb, but taking out the Ninjask. Huge, huge, huge plays there. But now, due to all of the prior damage, Beedrill is going to come in, get off a Poison Jab, KO the Kricketune, KO the Gyarados, and the Swellow will drop to Donphan's rocks. Very, very quick game here. I think a lot of the early switching and the not preserving of the Amoonguss definitely really hurt the Ludicolo side in this game. Amoonguss definitely could have been used a lot better, I think. As soon as he took the first Earthquake, he could have easily doubled back out into something like Gyarados or something along the lines of Swellow to potentially start setting up and doing some other things. So definitely could have been played a little bit better on that side. But overall, a solid game to watch. And a 2-0 victory for the Port Elizabeth Politoads. And with that, that is going to conclude our Week 1 recap for the NPBF. If you guys have enjoyed this, make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you have not already. I will try to keep doing these on a regular weekly basis. So if you guys enjoy them, stick around for more NPBF action. We will more than likely, hopefully, have 12 matches next week to give to you guys. So please look forward to that. But with that, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Until next time, I'm PokePrimer, signing off.